Have you ever found yourself puzzled by German articles? Der, die, das. You're not alone. It's a common challenge for many language learners. Welcome to the whimsical world of German grammar, where articles are not just accessories to nouns, but play a pivotal role in the language. You might be scratching your head, wondering why a language needs to complicate things with articles. Well, it's all part of the German charm. Now, the first thing to understand is that these articles aren't randomly assigned. They're tied to the gender of the noun they're associated with. Yes, you heard that right. In German, nouns have genders: masculine, feminine, and neutral. And as you might have guessed, der is for masculine nouns, die for feminine, and das for neutral ones. But wait, don't rush off to label every item in your house with der, die, or das. It's not as straightforward as it seems. You see, the gender of a noun in German doesn't always align with the gender we might naturally assign to it. For instance, das Mädchen, which means the girl, uses the neutral article das, not the feminine die. Surprising, isn't it? And that's not all. The form of the article also changes based on the case of the noun. Nominative, accusative, dative, or genitive. For example, der Mann, the man, becomes dem Mann in the dative case. By now, you might be thinking, wow, German articles are a labyrinth, and you wouldn't be wrong. But don't worry, we're here to navigate this labyrinth together. With a bit of patience, some clever strategies, and lots of practice, you'll get the hang of it. So, are you ready for a deep dive into the world of German articles? Are you geared up to tackle the der, die, and das head on? If your answer is a resounding yes, then let's get started. So let's dive deeper into this and clear up this confusion. First, we need to understand that German has 3 genders: masculine, feminine, and neuter. This is critical for choosing the correct article. In English, the definite article is always the, regardless of the noun it precedes. But in German, things get a little more complex. The definite article changes based on the gender of the noun it comes before. And here's the kicker. Every noun in German has a gender. Let's start with der. Der is the masculine definite article, used before masculine nouns. For example, der Mann, which translates to the man. It's a masculine noun, so we use der. Next up, die. Die is the feminine definite article used before feminine nouns. An example would be die Frau, or the woman. Frau is a feminine noun, so it takes the feminine article die. Finally, we have das. Das is the neuter definite article used before neuter nouns. Take das Kind, which means the child. Kind is a neuter noun, so we use das. Now, you might think that the gender of the noun is tied to the gender of what it represents, but that's not always the case. For instance, das Mädchen, which means the girl, is neuter, not feminine. This is because Mädchen is a diminutive, a term of endearment, and all diminutives in German are neuter. This might seem a little overwhelming, but don't worry. As with all elements of language learning, practice and repetition are key. The more you use these articles, the more natural it will feel. Remember, the gender of a noun is not always related to its meaning, but it's essential for the correct use of articles. So, keep practicing, and soon enough you'll be able to navigate the world of German articles with ease. Now, let's delve into the specifics of der, die, das. In the German language, each noun is assigned a specific gender, and this dictates whether we use der, die, or das before it. You see, der is assigned to masculine nouns, die is for feminine and plural nouns, and das is for neuter nouns. But let's illustrate this with some real-life examples. Consider the German word for dog, Hund. This noun is masculine, so we use der. It becomes der Hund. Now let's take a look at the word for cat, Katze. This noun is feminine, so we use die. It becomes die Katze. And for the word car, auto, which is a neuter noun, we use das, so it's das Auto. You might be wondering, how do we know which noun is masculine, feminine, or neuter? Well, that's a valid question, and here's where it gets a bit tricky. There are no hard and fast rules for this. Some words might seem masculine but are feminine, and vice versa. For example, das Mädchen, the girl, is neuter, not feminine. Yes, it can be confusing, but don't worry. As you immerse yourself in the language, you'll start to get a feel for it, you'll begin to notice patterns and exceptions. And that's the beauty of learning a language. It's not just about memorizing rules, it's about immersing yourself in a new way of thinking and expressing yourself. It's also worth noting that these articles affect the adjectives and pronouns used in a sentence. For example, der alte Hund means the old dog, while die alte Katze means the old cat. See how the adjective alte remains the same, but the article changes depending on the gender of the noun? Isn't it fascinating how these little words can change the meaning of a sentence? So keep practicing, and soon you'll find that das will no longer be a source of confusion, but a key to unlocking the rich and exciting world of the German language. Here are some tips to help you remember the gender of German nouns and the correct articles. First off, when learning new vocabulary, always memorize nouns with their articles. This might seem like a lot more work, but it's an effective way to reinforce the gender article association in your mind. For example, don't just learn the word for dog, learn der Hund, not just cat, but die Katze. This way you're not just memorizing a word, but a unit of meaning. Secondly, recognize common endings that indicate the gender. Certain noun endings can give you a clue as to the gender of the word. For instance, nouns ending in keit or heit are usually feminine and take the article die. So when you see die Freundlichkeit, friendliness, or die Gesundheit, health, you'll know they're feminine. Conversely, nouns ending in like der Lehrer, teacher, are usually masculine. This isn't a foolproof rule, but it's a helpful guideline. Thirdly, use color-coded flashcards. This is a fun and visual way to remember the gender of German nouns. You could use blue for masculine der words, red for feminine die words, and green for neuter das words. So when you see the word Kaffee, coffee, on a blue card, you'll remember it's der Kaffee. Another tip is to practice, practice, practice. The more you use the articles in context, the more natural it will feel. Try to use the new vocabulary in sentences, write them down, say them out loud. Engage as many of your senses as possible, and finally, don't stress too much about mistakes. Even native German speakers sometimes get tripped up by the gender of certain words. What matters most is communication and understanding. So keep at it, and remember that every mistake is a step towards mastering the language. With these tips, mastering German articles will be less daunting. Remember, practice is key when it comes to learning German articles. So let's talk about how you can incorporate this into your daily language learning routine. First off, you could start by setting aside a few minutes each day specifically for practicing German articles. It doesn't have to be a long session. Even 10 to 15 minutes can make a significant difference over time. Whether it's during your morning coffee or on your commute home, find a time that works for you and stick to it. Next, consider using language apps. Many of these apps are designed to make learning fun and engaging, turning what could be a tedious task into an enjoyable game. They often include exercises specifically focused on German articles, providing an excellent way to reinforce what you've learned. Books are another great resource. Look for German language textbooks or grammar guides with exercises on articles. These can provide a more in-depth explanation of the rules and exceptions, offering you a broader understanding of how German articles work. Don't forget about online language exchange communities. These platforms connect language learners from around the world, allowing you to practice your German with native speakers or fellow learners. It's a fantastic opportunity to use German articles in a real-world context, helping you to internalize their usage more naturally. Finally, remember that it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, making mistakes is an integral part of the learning process. Don't be too hard on yourself if you mix up der, die, or das every now and then. Instead, use these moments as learning opportunities, and you'll find that with each mistake, you're one step closer to mastering German articles. In conclusion, practice is the secret ingredient to mastering German articles. The more you practice, the more familiar you'll become with the rules and exceptions, making it easier to choose the right article in any given situation. So keep practicing, and you'll soon find that German articles are not as tricky as they seem. That's a wrap on German articles. Der, die, das. We've journeyed through the basics, dug into the details, and even tackled some practice scenarios. Let's quickly revisit what we've learned. German has 3 definite articles: der for masculine nouns, die for feminine and plural nouns, and as for neutral nouns. The choice of article is influenced by the gender of the noun. Remember, gender in language doesn't always align with real-world gender, so keep those flashcards handy. We've also shared tips to make remembering these articles easier. From categorizing nouns by their endings to visualizing real-life scenarios, every tool we've discussed will help you in your mission to master German articles. But remember, the key to success is practice. Use these articles as often as you can, in conversation, writing, and reading. Don't worry about making mistakes. They're part of the learning process. With patience and practice, you'll master these in no time. Happy learning!